This question comes from exercise 7.4 in the Vretta textbook, question number 5, again on break-even analysis. The net income of a postcard company is $15,920, and the variable costs are $47,600. The fixed costs are $78.80. We're asked to calculate the sales amount at the break-even point. So how much sales do they make at this break-even point? Well, let's start with the information that we know about. We know that the net income is $15,920, and that certainly is not the break-even point, because if you have an income at all, then you're beyond the break-even point. So let's come up with our income statement. So our income statement is going to have a line item for total sales. Total sales. And from the total sales, I'm going to deduct my variable costs. And that's going to leave me with my gross profit, or also called the contribution margin. These three line items are volume related. They are directly related to volume. So the more you sell, the higher these numbers are going to be. Now we deduct from these the gross profit. From the gross profit, we deduct the fixed cost, which is not volume related. It is fixed, so irrespective of how much we sell, the fixed cost remains the same at $78.80. And then we're left with our net income, and the net income, in this case, the net income is $15,920. So the net income is $15,920. Well, that's actually a lot of information that we have here, because if I know these two line items in my income statement, I can actually very easily calculate the gross profit simply by adding the two. So my gross profit, or my contribution margin, will work out to $78.80 plus $15,920. That works out to be an amount of $23,800. And the other piece of information that I have is that the variable costs at this point are $47,600. So let's fill that into our income statement. So our variable costs are equal to $47,600, and that's fantastic, because now I can use these two line items to figure out the total sales, simply because the fact that I know that the variable costs need to be deducted from total sales. So in order to get my total sales number, I just reverse the operation and I add them. You don't need formulas to do this, you just need an understanding of how the income statement works. So the total sales now is the $47,600 plus the $23,800. That works out to be a total value of $71,400. And at this point, we can now conclude that our total sales are $71,400, our variable costs are $47,600, and we have gross profit of $23,800, which after deducting our fixed costs leaves us with our net income of $15,920. But we weren't asked about these numbers. We were asked to determine the sales amount at the break-even point. So how are we going to do that? Well, in order to work out what the sales amount is at the break-even point, what I need to do is to come up with some ratios or proportions. And I'm going to treat total sales as my baseline. So this total sales number is 100% of my total sales, using total sales as the baseline. And now I'm going to figure out what percentage of total sales the $47,600 is. So $47,600 expressed as a percentage of our total sales. $71,400 represents a particular percent. That percent is 66 2/3% of total sales. It's exactly 2 out of 3, or 2/3. So this is 66.6 repeating percent of total sales. Of course, you realize that if you've got 100% of total sales and you deduct 66 2/3% of total sales, what percentage of total sales remains? Remember that this is just like percentages. and discounts. So we've got 100%, take away 66 2/3%. Otherwise, what you can also do is you can calculate $23,800, 23,800 as a percentage of total sales. And the total sales again is 71,400. That is exactly 33 1/3% of total sales. So this is equal to 33 1/3%, which is 0.3 repeating percent of total sales. So these are all the volume related percentages. So at this point now we have some important information. These percentages I'm going to retain because I'm going to now go into my income statement one more time, but this time I'm going to treat my income statement from the break-even perspective. So at the break-even point, we're going to have a line item for total sales, but we don't know what it is, but we know that it is equal to 100% of total sales. We also have another line item for our variable costs, and we don't know what those variable costs are, but we know that they are 66 2/3% of total sales. And then we're left with our contribution margin or our gross profit, which is a remainder of 33 1/3% of total sales. From that, I deduct my fixed costs, and my fixed costs are unchanging no matter what my volume is. The fixed costs happen to be $78.80. And I'm going to put that, I'm going to shift that over, not underneath my percentage columns. I'm going to shift it over to a non-percent column because it is not volume related. And at the break-even point, my net income at break-even is equal to 0. And so what that means is, working backwards again, our gross profit must have been $78.80 at the break-even. So now I have an important equation that tells me, and I'm going to triple star this, that equation tells me that 33 1/3% of my total sales is equal to my fixed costs of $78.80 at the break-even point. So now I'm going to write that equation out as an equation and solve it. So 33.3 repeating percent of total sales is equal to $78.80, my fixed costs. Well, what that means is that total sales is equal to $78.80 divided by 33 1/3%. And we know that in percent form, you move the decimal point over 2 places to the left, so total sales then is equal to $78.80 divided by 0.33 repeating, or divided by 1/3, if you want to put that in brackets, because that's what 0.33 repeating is. Total sales works out to be a value of $23,640. And so now what you can do is you can go back to your income statement and you can pop in the $23,640 in this line item here, $23,640. You can actually calculate 1/3 of $23,460. That will, when subtracted from 23, will give you the $78.80, and everything will work out just nicely. So the total sales that are required to break even is a sales value of $23,640.